Who's wrong and who's wronger? In this corner, followed by millions, James the Exploding Unicorn Breakwell. And in that corner, ignored by millions, Steve Dash Rinko Levens.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wrong and Wronger, the show that will challenge my ability to count backwards from 5, not once but twice. James will explain all of that in a minute, but I gotta say, James, and I've talked to Lola about this, but you're a very difficult person to like.
What?
And yet here I am again for the fans, because I'm a giver.
Difficult person to like? There is
everybody knows.
Exactly one tolerable person on this podcast.
That's what I'm saying.
You guessed wrong the first time. Would you like to try again?
Well, 50-50 and math, all a part of what's already happened behind the scenes, and I don't know if I can work under these conditions, James.
Yeah, I actually was trying to multitask here because you just had I was going to say brilliant insight, but nothing you've ever said has been brilliant, but it was an insight. I'll say a judgment-neutral insight, neither good nor bad. But you suggested that, for the 8 people who watch on YouTube, that maybe we should read their comments on air. Give them some credit, spread out the love from Judy P just a tiny bit, to reward them for going in there and writing down in a place where generally neither of us looks. We are very bad people. We have so few fans, and we really don't take care of them.
No, but we did ask them to participate last week, and there were some who stepped up to the plate. And this is a good time to recognize them because we asked, should we, or would it matter to anybody if we ended the video part of this podcast and just went audio? And the fans, and there is an S at the end of that word, James, have spoken.
We had a whole 7 comments. This is the biggest outpouring of reaction we've had ever since the Fravis incident, where we created a whole new word on Urban Dictionary. So here's a few comments. Here's the top comment with a whopping 2 likes. It says, first and foremost, do not stop making... Oh, this is from Susan, by the way. I guess giving shout-outs to people doesn't do any good if I don't acknowledge who wrote it down. But Susan says, first and foremost, do not stop making Wrong and Wronger, and do not is in capitals. I'd accept audio only, but if you could do a sporadic video together, I'd be thrilled. I look forward to seeing/hearing from you. So obviously, Steve wrote this in disguise, and Susan is not a real person, but nice try, Steve.
Well, that's really secret code for I enjoy seeing Steve, but if I have to put up with James, so be it.
Okay, then we've got Kotkel says, if you go audio only, will you go back to uploading on Spotify for the first time since the debate format episodes? We used to post on Spotify, and that was your job. What happened, Steve? Why have we not been on Spotify for the last who knows?
So there are 2 good reasons.
Ooh,
and
are they both laziness?
One is not laziness at all.
Okay.
James, people know you and I well enough to know we are anything but lazy, despite everything you say you are. But one was nobody listened on Spotify anyway, which would have been fine because you and I are used to that kind of
absolutely.
rejection. But number 2, it cost us a separate amount to post on Spotify.
Seriously?
So, yeah, it was $20 extra a month.
Whoa,
Not that affects
month?
you at all, James. Yes.
Well, actually, I will have you know, my alert popped up just yesterday to pay Steve, and I promptly ignored it because we both know I can only pay you once every 2 years.
But yeah, that was, we had to go through a third party to get posted on Spotify, and that required extra legwork on my part, which was fine if people were going to listen there, but nobody did, and it cost me $20, and it's like, okay, so I've had enough of this, and that was that.
That's impressive. You're basically like paying $20 so one person can listen, because I can't imagine we had any more than that one person. So Kotkel, I am sorry. The only purpose of your comment was so we could personally disappoint you. And thus we have defeated the purpose of this segment. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and go through. We've got so few comments. We're going to read all the comments here, really, because it's not like we have...
Oh, this is dangerous, James Breakwell.
It's not like we have a lot of other content to get to. So here we go. Helen says, no, I love the video podcast. Do we even say at the start of this what these comments are in response to?
Yeah, I laid it out.
I zone out when you're talking, so I was unclear.
So do I.
P.S. writes, no, don't cancel, please. No comment on video or audio.
no.
Yeah, but there were lots of no's. There's 5 no's, but then a don't, so I don't know with double negatives what that cancels out to be. Terry says, nice hat, Steve. So it's good that we're reaching out to our blind viewers. Empire Jeff says, yes, question mark. And Terry, for a second time, says, nice hat, Steve. So...
So we had 7 comments, including 2 by Terry, that compliment my sartorial splendor that I bring to the show every week, James.
Well, there we go. We have heard back from literally every listener we had last week, and the results are unanimous. We've got a big meh. So there we go. But I think for now we're going to keep the video going simply because I didn't actually research audio-only devices that Steve could use. And also, I fear that giving him any new piece of technology to use, even if that piece of technology is like 20 years old, is just going to baffle him.
Yeah, I'm not the right guy to break in any newfangled technology. Like if the Russian subs used it in World War I, I'm almost caught up to where it is.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you could not handle a sub because you are still baffled by ball valves.
I'm not baffled by ball valves, James. I've done a tutorial on this very show about ball valves. I did that for your benefit to at least spare you the bafflement in the future.
I do know more about ball valves than I ever wanted to, but I feel like this podcast just made me dumber. And that frustrated sigh for once was not for you. It was for life in general. So I'm trying to multitask. So you made me get on my phone to read these comments. So while I was doing it, our school, this is probably totally beyond your experience because back when you had kids in school, they wrote on cuneiform tablets and all that chiseled on a mountaintop. But my kids, like their teachers communicate through apps, and every teacher uses a different app. So I have 9,000 kids, so I have to be logged into 9,000 apps. But this year, the school sent out a message about a specific app, and so I'm hoping that's going to be the app for everything. That's probably a vain hope, and I'm probably going to get 1,000 other emails for this. But anyway, they sent me the invite for this app, and I went in there, and it was all set up. They had all my info, and they said, do you want to combine with your wife's account? And I said yes, because the problem we have is we're both trying to be on these apps and email lists, but like only half of us is on each one. So when they could try to communicate, there's no telling which parent they're going to reach about what. So neither one of us ever has more than half the information. But it gives me a chance to merge the accounts. And all I have to do is send a verification code to my wife's email. And so I click send it through to my wife's email. And my wife, who is busier during the day than I am, is working. And so I sent it to her, and then like 30 minutes later, she's like, okay, there's the code. I forwarded it to you, which is too late. So then I send her the code again, and then she sends it back to me, and it is too late. And so that was there. It just popped up as I was talking to you, and I thought, oh, maybe this time it will not be too late. But it was too late. So once again, Steve, you have stopped me from doing something far more important than this podcast, and our accounts shall never be merged. You are the reason I will never know what's going on with my children. So that's the sacrifice I make to be here with you today.
James, I realize you are attempting to shame me with that information, but you're only filling me with pride and motivation to continue on and screw up your life as much as I possibly can, knowing that I've already done yeoman's work in the past. And if we're going to learn anything from history, it's that I'm going to continue this run of success that I've had.
Run of success at disabling success in those around you. Is that hobbling the successful? Is that the game plan here?
Not all the successful, just a select few. One.
I do like that you just went along with my assumption that I am successful. So I'll take that as a win for the self-compliment there. But you've got a kid away at school. How does the school communicate with you? I'm guessing like angry certified letters.
Yes. Yeah, they send the Italians to the house to break our thumbs. We don't communicate much with them. We'll get emails that link us. See, I don't even know the lingo you kids use nowadays, James. Links that will guide us to the portal to get his grades and like semester, whatever the hell they call them now in school. I don't pay much attention to this, James. But if there's a snow day or if they have like a COVID outbreak and they're going to close for the day or something, we'll just get an auto dial call from a recorded message principal saying we're having a snow day because there were 38 inches that fell last night. So good luck with that. But that's about it. Otherwise, we just communicate with our kid.
Your kid lives on campus and is also like 9 states away. What do they expect you to do with this information that there's a snow day? Are you going to drive 9 states through the snow to his dorm to pick him up and drive him home? I mean, what are they anticipating there?
I don't think it's anything other than we happen to be on the parent list, ergo we get all of those kind of messages whether we give a hoot or not.
And I would assume you are generally in the not give a hoot category.
I'm like, he's your problem now. What do you want me to do about it? Come on.
I mean,
what are we paying you for?
As much as I rip on you for basically everything you've ever done, you did get your kid out of the house before age 18. I mean, it was 16 or 17 you got him bounced. I mean, that's
16. Yeah,
16.
This is his 3rd year up there.
That is A+ parenting. Wait, so he started at 16 or he's 16 now?
He's 18 now.
18 now.
He started at 16.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah, I'm confident I'm going to be stuck with my kids till they're mid-30s. So, teach me your ways. Do I have to raise my kids to be hockey stars, or what's the key here?
Yeah, you're going to need them to get good in a sport that is only played like at a school far, far away.
I'm trying to think of what that would even be. I mean, maybe like polo, maybe. I don't know, something. Well, I guess there's the North doesn't have a monopoly on horses. I guess they really only have a monopoly on ice and cold, which is why, or maybe we could go the other direction. Maybe we can pick a sport that's only played where it's very warm, like alligator swamp volleyball or something. I mean, there's got to be some sport out there.
Well, if one of your kids is super good at tennis, they could go live at the I think it's Nick Balotelli. I can't remember the exact name. But it's where both the Williams sisters and Andre Agassi, all the Americans that are really good, go down there and live in Florida at his place. And he trains them, and the best of the best join the pro circuit when they're teenagers, and they start making money for their parents.
I know somebody actually who played Division I tennis, which is pretty high up there. You got to be pretty good to be a Division I athlete at anything.
Yeah.
And now he hates tennis with the passion of 1,000 suns. And so I think that's pretty much the reaction of anybody who does a sport up through college. I just you either go pro and hate it forever, and really there's not that many things to go pro in. I mean, there are some sports that just kind of end. Like if you are the greatest lacrosse player ever, there really is not a meaningful professional lacrosse, circuit out there. You're just done. Or so it's I think sports are the pathway to disappointment in general, and you have to work really, really hard to get there. So maybe there's an easier way to ditch my children. I'll keep my thinking cap on and see. Because me and sports don't really get along so well. I guess I'm good at raising mediocre children who halfway try at various things. So unless there's like housing out there for halfway effort, I don't think what's going to happen.
Well, there is. It's called rehab. But that's just... I just want to mention that if anyone can see what's happening over my shoulder, several horsemen of the apocalypse are about to descend upon my ranch. And I don't think all 4 are going to get here at the same time, but they will eventually have like a hootenanny on Rattlesnake Ranch. According to the weather app, I have a full hour before the thunderstorm arrives. But as you can see, it's almost here.
Well, I do appreciate that you have dedicated your last hour on Earth to me, so maybe we can catch the final destruction of Rattlesnake Ranch on camera.
Ooh, live, yeah.
I suppose we should get back to our favorite discussion, things that are wrong with Steve's real estate purchases. So what's going wrong on the ranch this week?
Well, we have a 3-bay garage. One of the garage door openers, which is brand new, no longer works.
Of course.
So one of the 3 doors doesn't open. I mentioned last week that my 4-wheeler is dead, but we can't take it to get fixed because the truck is dead.
Interesting.
Yes. I did get the truck back today, but we had other things we needed to get done today and had to quit early because of what's happening behind me. We wanted to make sure to batten the hatches before the storm got here. Of course, that didn't stop an HVAC guy from saying he's going to come out in an hour to give us an estimate on putting air conditioning in the big cabin. So at some point, I have to go down and re-padlock the gate when he leaves in the middle of a pounding thunderstorm because the gate opener doesn't work either. Now, there's another motherboard on order, but I'm guessing because it comes from China, it's going to be at least a year and a half before it arrives.
There is a whole lot to unpack there, from why do you need to lock the gate in the middle of a storm to actually I'm gonna just push aside all the petty ones and jump to the big. Ooh, is that thunder?
You got nothing left. There's
anyway,
no more bullets in your
okay,
chamber.
no, you rushed right past the headline there. This giant cabin, this giant luxury cabin on this massive rattlesnake infested estate.
Oh my God!
Does not have air conditioning.
No.
What?
We've so we have the equivalent of a window unit air conditioner that is trying to keep up with the 99 to 104 degree temperatures. That's not including the heat index. There's no trees around the cabin, so the sun, which has been unimpeded for the last month, just hammers our tin roof. And that thing has not been quite as capable as we were hoping. It was also property of the previous owner, so it sat getting chewed on by mice for 3 years. But we figured, we got time. We'll just ride this horse until it dies, and it is about dead. So we got heat and air in the small cabin so that my son wouldn't die when he stayed here for the summer. He's still here. And now it's getting to the point that we have to put air conditioning in the big cabin or we're going to die.
Well, I got to say that would be a pretty awesome end to this podcast. But okay, I gotta backtrack. So when you saw this place, you saw the rattlesnakes, the mice, you saw no water, you saw questionable electricity, and you saw no air conditioning. And you were like, jackpot.
Not only that, but the shower. I can't remember if I sent you a picture of that shower when we first walked in, but the entire wall had collapsed because it was draining into the wall for 3 years. And everything had turned to like Nerf, all the wood, and it all collapsed into the shower. So it's actually worse than you're painting a bad picture of being, James.
And you were so excited about this place. You could not wait to move in here and get away from your neighbors who set off fireworks one extra day a year. You thought.
No, that was 2 houses
ago. 2
houses
James. Ago.
Last house, we lived in way too expensive of a neighborhood for anything to do anything that would upset anyone.
So, okay, why did you rush out of that one? I can't remember. It was just because somebody paid you a bunch of money to not be there anymore. Was that one?
You mean Olivas Manor?
Yeah, Olivas Manor. Somebody came in and made you an offer you couldn't refuse, or did you move for some other reason?
Well, someone did come in and make me an offer I couldn't refuse, but when I couldn't afford the mortgage anymore because my speaking career ended abruptly. And so we lived off of the moratorium on mortgage for as long as we could. And then we had to get out from under the house. And as we've talked about before, we also didn't need that much house. We didn't need to be in that school district anymore. And we're out here, which we like much more than that. The house isn't as good, obviously. The house it's not a piece of crap, but it's...
yeah, it kind of is. That's some pretty powerful denial right there.
It's kind of a money trap, but the property is so well worth being out here. Like, we got a pretty good deal on this land because it was so overgrown, and we've worked ever since we got it to get it back under control, and we're probably 2/3, maybe 3/4 of the way to our goal right now, and it's fabulous.
I love that your idea of downsizing was buying the largest property of your life. Like you have downsized by moving on to like 200 acres. That's small for you these days, huh?
Well, we downsized because we live in a 1,200 square foot single room cabin right now.
And that tiny air conditioner can't keep up with 1,200 square feet?
No, well, God only knows how old it is. Like, it's not our air conditioner. We inherited it with the house. But from what the HVAC guys have told us, we need an equivalent 24,000 BTU unit to not only cool the 1,200 we've got, but we added the master bedroom that's not it's just roughed in right now. We haven't finished it because workers suck. But we also have to heat and air that, and so we need 24,000 BTUs total. And the air conditioner that we've got in the wall is only 18,000 BTUs, so it's struggling to keep up.
I see. Have you considered throwing your son out of the small cabin, since he doesn't really live there anyway, and just taking it over, since it seems to have heat and water and electricity and air conditioning?
Yeah. He'll be here for another 3 weeks, and then he has to go back to school. And that one is wide open. Obviously not for James Breakwell, but we, on desperate nights, may go over there if we don't have air conditioning, and he still does.
I was actually just thinking that maybe I will come visit you after all. If I could live in the tiny cabin at a higher standard of living than you live in the big cabin, that might make me. It might make you feel good enough to go down there. I guess. What's the toilet flushing status there? Does the toilet currently flush or not flush?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, everything works. We got satellite TV. We got Wi-Fi internet over there. Like it's like it's about 950 square feet, and it's a nice hotel room, like a big hotel room. It's got fully functioning kitchen, oven, dishwasher, microwave, shower works, toilet works. It has air.
Almost as big as your main cabin.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the main cabin is 1,200, and I think we added 350 or 360 with that master bedroom addition. So we've probably got 15-ish, maybe leaning on 16.
Gotcha. How did the mice feel about that?
We have not, and I'm knocking on, Trex, I'm knocking on fake wood, that we haven't had a mouse in the house since the winter. Like, I don't,
wow.
If we had any, we've had maybe one. But since I cut everything back away from the house, the mice have gone back from the house. Once in a while now, when I'm cutting down some chest-high weeds again, I'll see mice run out from the tall grass, field grass weeds. But I don't think they like the short grass. They get picked off by the birds, which are always circling and looking for food.
It's wild kingdom out there outside your house. But I choose to believe that your house is no longer suitable for any life, human or animal, even very small animals. They're like, you know what? There's no air conditioning in here. Maybe we'll go out to the grass where there's a bit of a breeze.
There's always a breeze, which is nice here. So even on the hottest summer days, there's a pretty good breeze because of our altitude, and it's wide open. So it's more comfortable than you realize.
Now, back to your earlier list of terrible things. You said the truck was dead, or you didn't have the truck to drive something somewhere, but then you mentioned you got the truck back. So did you get the truck back and it died, or are you saying it was dead past tense and it has since been resurrected?
It used to be dead, now it is alive. We call it Lazarus.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And then as for the gate, couldn't you leave the gate unlocked for one thunderstorm? Just let it ride? Is somebody going to rush up your driveway at that exact moment?
It's, no. We'd have to leave it open all night. And the gate is like all the way open. Like it's not just closed and unlocked. It's laying open. And I guess we could leave it like that, but it's, it just makes me feel a little more secure knowing that there's a padlock that has my back and not just wide open to the world, especially because so many people in town have been curious about this property for 3 years. Literally, almost everyone we meet says, oh yeah, I went up and looked at that place. I just couldn't afford it. And then they sort of look at me like, you're that doctor from Nashville, aren't you? But so many people have come up here, and apparently they just feel free to wander up the driveway whenever they feel like it. So I did, as I've mentioned, post the no trespassing signs at the gate, and we'll see if people adhere to those if it's hanging wide open.
I mean, it's bold of you to assume the people there can read, but to each their own.
Oh my God!
Yeah, what are the odds? What are the odds that amongst our 6 listeners is somebody there in your neck of the woods?
Zero. I am still. People are nice, but I ain't one of them. And they let me know in no uncertain terms.
We're already at the end of the podcast. This is a whole different section. We've talked on here before about getting recognized, though. And apparently it hasn't happened to you down there in Tennessee yet. But I had it happen like twice in a month here recently. Wow. I went to a children's museum in Muncie, Indiana, which is a good bit of a drive away from here. And as soon as we walked in, somebody came up and said, and like they walk up to me, or we were like, we had just walked in there, and they had the demonstrators had some guinea pigs out, and my kids had run off to look at them, and somebody walked up to me. I was like, no, we can't be getting yelled at already. We've been here for like 30 seconds. And she just goes, I love what you do. And I've never been so confused in my life. Like, what did I do? Again, we just got here. But no, she recognized me as James Breakwell. And then it was super awkward because it's like, well, I came here to this children's museum so I could not watch my kids for 8 hours. Like, I'm just turning them loose, and I'm going to sit here and be the worst dad you've ever seen because I've got a bunch of stuff I have to write. And that's what I did. But now people knew that, like, I was supposed to be famous for being a less terrible dad, and I was clearly being the worst dad I could possibly be. And then it happened a few weeks later. It happened again. And you probably didn't read this newsletter, but it happened again in the middle of the Rhine River in Europe. We were there, and somebody...
I didn't see that.
Yeah, some mom came up, or not mom, it was like an older lady, and she came up and she goes, oh, so you're the people with 4 daughters. And we're like, who have we been talking to? Do we even mention our kids? We came here to forget we have kids. But like this lady was there with her 2 of her 4 daughters, and one of them had recognized us and told her, and they all follow me. And I was like, this is insane. I am the least famous internet person ever, and if anything, my star is fading rather than rising at this point in my life. But yet I'm getting recognized more often, so clearly I'm just getting worse at evading detection. But I would really enjoy it more if you got recognized for the podcast, because that's my favorite thing in the world. Because by far of everything you and I do, this is you have 9 podcasts. This is your least listened to podcast of all of them, and it's also like you do so many other things. This is also your activity of least exposure. So when you get recognized for the podcast, I mean that's like a comet happening during a full moon while getting struck by lightning. And I really hope it happens with somebody down there who also knows the sordid history of your property and continuously trespasses there. Because if that happens, then we're going to have a really good suspect for who kills you when your body turns up. So it's going to be them.
They will be right next to me whichever week we record, and that happens. But we got to get going, James, because it's starting to come unglued here at the ranch. And the wind is starting to pick up, and I think 2 of the horsemen of the apocalypse have landed at the helipad by the hospital up the road. So I got to get marching here. Not that I wanted to stay in the first place, but I will let everyone else get away from James Breakwell for another week. And until we meet again, this is Steve Olivas, Dr. Steve, who's about to be wet, saying thanks for watching, and for James I don't know what's going on, but Breakwell says goodbye, and hopefully forever, but he'll probably be back next week. But until we meet again, remember, 2 wrongs can't be right.
That was rough.